Hey guys, welcome to Recharge Online. Hopefully, only for a few more weeks. It seems like we're starting to make some progress. In our story of Ruth, we're going to do something a little different. And by a little different, this actually might help you in a couple ways. You probably have a lot of questions about dating and all that jazz, and who should you look for, and what does that even mean? And you know what? Today we're going to get a good example of that. So, Ruth chapter 3, we actually kind of see a different interaction between Ruth and Boaz. And this is kind of the first one where it's kind of a big deal. And so it begins in chapter 3 in the first 5 verses. Naomi kind of shows that Boaz is really a great guy to kind of keep pushing her that way and saying, man, look how good of a man he is, how kind he has been to you and to me and the people that are around him, the things he has offered people, and the stability that he brings. And she starts showing these good qualities of a man. Now, when we kind of think about this is kind of hard, like for most of you as teenagers, or even as we get older as college students or in our young adult life, it's hard to hear things from our parents, especially when they say, I think you should date this person, because it's kind of awkward and you're like, you may not really know who I want or whatever it may be. But this shows that Naomi was involved in Ruth's life, and Ruth wanted to know Naomi's opinion of men. And so a big thing for us to learn, and because this is very counterculture to who we are, is our parents need to be involved in our lives, and we need to seek out older, wiser people to help us kind of figure out, like, what do you think of somebody? What is someone that you would look into as a spouse in the future? Partly because, as younger, we just go, wow, they're hot, I kind of want to hang out with them, or wow, they're funny, I kind of want to hang out with them, or whatever. We just kind of look at one thing and we pick out the one thing that we like, and we kind of just roll with that. And that's not always the best idea, especially for thinking long term. And so Naomi helps Ruth by going, hey, look at all these great qualities. This is kind of man you should look for. And it doesn't talk about wealth or age. It talks about his character. And then she pushes him to go meet with him later in the evening after they kind of get through the process of getting the bad wheat out of the good grain. And so that's a different conversation for another day that you're probably not really interested in, and that's okay. But we see in Ruth 3, 6 through 13, some really interesting thing. Ruth gets nice, right? She dresses up, she puts on perfume, and she goes into Boaz's house, or in this case his room, and she doesn't use her beauty as something to be used against him or to persuade him, but she dresses modestly, appropriately, dolls herself up, gets attractive, but also remains respectful of who he is, to not push him into temptation, but honestly to better respect him by. And that was kind of the view of sleeping at his feet, was to say, like, I'm here to be honest with you and to show my intentions, but I'm not going to lead you astray. Which is a big deal, because a lot of our culture is very much like, if you got it, flaunt it, like, do whatever you need to do to get the attention of the person you want to be with, no matter who it is, right? The guys flaunt themselves, girls flaunt themselves, and we use the wrong things in life to attract someone else rather than the good things. And also, again, a big thing to think about this, again, and Boaz points this out, like, she could have gone after someone that was wealthy or younger, but she went after someone who had the character of someone that you would want to marry and be with long term. And so she is blessed because of that reason, and Boaz finds her attractive. And just to the extent that we see later in verses 14 through 18, we see, one, he wants to protect her reputation, right? He even says earlier, like, everyone knows you as a woman of good reputation, and he doesn't want to ruin that. So make sure that they don't do anything that would bring shame to either one of them. Also, he says, hey, get up early in the morning and leave before anyone sees you, so no one even thinks that something is wrong or that something happened that did not happen. And he also sends her away with 6 bundles of wheat to send to, not with her, but to Naomi, his future mother-in-law, because it's just him showing, hey, these are my intentions, and my intention is not only to take care of Ruth, but also to take care of you. And then Naomi then gives her approval by saying, hey, be patient and wait, for this man will do what needs to be done. And that's a big thing. And so there's a lot of different interesting things that we can take away from this chapter, but a lot of it really just has to do with our relationships. So one, you should involve your parents. And parents, if you're watching this, you should be involved in your kids' dating life. And I know that's again really weird and kind of awkward, but that relationship is there. And thinking like, I remember like I talked to my wife's dad before we actually even started dating, and we talked for a couple of hours, and he actually asked me, said, hey, you should wait a little bit before y'all start going on dates. And that was really hard, but in hindsight, I was actually really glad that happened. And my wife is not the only person whose parents I met with first before dating. But there's a very big difference between the girls I dated where I met with the parents beforehand and the ones that I just either never met their parents or just casually saw their parents. There was a big difference. The second is be honest and honestly be modest. And that doesn't necessarily mean always in clothing, but be modest with your finances. Like, don't just go crazy, blow all this money. Don't wear things that you shouldn't be wearing, but be honest with your titian. Don't play games. Like, in high school and junior high, obviously you're not dating to get married, and that's a different discussion for a different day. But as you get older, you just be honest with somebody like, hey, I'm dating with trying to find someone to get married, or hey, I'm just dating trying to get to know you. And both of those things are okay. But you should never have the other person guessing what's going on in life. Like, be honest with each other, show each other your intentions, and don't try to just guilt or cheapen your way into someone's life, because that won't last very long, I promise you. The last thing is, hey, be open with your parents. Like the first thing Ruth did after she spent the day or the night, and by spend the night, not actually like doing things they shouldn't have done, but she went home and talked to her mother-in-law, in this case her mother, about the night and who Boaz was, the conversation. She was open and honest with her parent, her wiser, older, more experienced person, to get their take, to get their opinion. And that's such a hard thing to do, and I understand that. But the benefit long-term continues to grow more and more and more, and builds not only trust between you and your parent, but also builds trust in seeing the world. Yes, you probably won't agree on everything that you look at in someone you're dating or future spouse. You probably won't agree on everything. But to see and to hear the different perspectives of someone who cares about you brings wisdom and guidance. And that's kind of what God kind of has done throughout the Bible, where we see the characteristics of the people, of not only leaders, but of spouses, and of what we should be as individuals. And so I love you guys. I hope this was helpful. I'm really trying to keep these short. And remember, on Sunday, we are actually having in-service. Only service, not Sunday morning discipleship, just in-service at 10:30. We would prefer you, if you do come, to wear a mask. But please come with your families. You're more than welcome to bring anybody you want to. Just know we are limited in how many people can come. So if we do have to turn people away eventually, it's not because we don't want you here. It's because of safety and regulations. But we love you guys, and we will see you later.